We are losing because of the second ball. Sometimes there's not more men in front that you are going to win the ball. We had more men to put in the offense. Who would be more offensive?
I understand you've not got a lot of options. Kobbie Mainoo.
Manchester United fans, please just give me a few minutes of your time, because we need to look at this situation together with clear eyes and honest hearts. Think back to last season. Remember how we struggled for goals? Remember how Rasmus Højlund wasn't scoring enough, how the entire team felt flat in attack, how every game felt like we were begging for just one spark. So the club decided to strengthen the front line. We brought in Mbeumo, we added Cunha, and we even signed another striker who was meant to be an upgrade on Højlund himself. And after all that, what did we do? We loaned Højlund out to Napoli. To this day, I still ask myself, why? Why did we loan out a player we signed for nearly €100 million? A player who was our highest scorer in the Champions League before we crashed out. A player who still chipped in goals in the league when Ten Hag was the coach. And now look, he's scoring for Napoli, he's scoring for Denmark, he's doing exactly what we needed him to do here. He could have clearly been a good squad player and a player to compete with Sesko. And the logic behind it is even more confusing. Last season, Xerxes himself said he preferred playing behind the striker. We saw it with our own eyes, he performed better when he dropped deep and linked up with the midfield. So if we already knew Xerxes wasn't a pure number 9, if we knew he was better competing with players like Cunha and Mbeumo for those deeper roles, then why didn't we keep Højlund to compete with Sesko? Because realistically, Sesko is the only natural number 9 we have. If he gets injured, and injuries happen just like it happened now, then what? Who leads the line? Who carries the attack? Who comes in as a substitute? This club talks about squad building but acts like it doesn't understand what squad depth even means. And this is why I get frustrated. Amorim'S sat there saying he didn't have offensive players on the bench to bring on. But whose fault is that? Is it ours? Is it the fans' fault? No. You are the club. You build the squad. You let Højlund go. You left us with one striker for an entire season. Look around the league, Arsenal have depth, Chelsea have depth, even teams below us have options in every position. They plan for the future. They prepare for injuries, fatigue, form drops. Meanwhile, Manchester United play once a week and still can't manage results. Imagine if we were playing twice a week with this thin squad, we would be sitting at the bottom of the table. Now secondly, after all the damage had already been done with our striker situation, things somehow got even worse. Our only proper number 9 got injured, the only natural striker in the entire squad, and instead of preparing for this moment, instead of having a backup plan, we just stumbled into the crisis like we didn't see it coming. Yes, we played Xerxes as the number 9, and that's fine, nobody is arguing against that. But here's the real question, why didn't we bring an academy striker onto the bench as support? If you're starting Cunha and Xerxes, the only 2 players who can even attempt to play as a striker, and you know Cunha is just returning from injury, how does it not make logical sense to put Chidi Obi on the bench? Just in case. Just so you have one natural striker option later in the game. Just so you can make a striker-for-striker substitution instead of disrupting the entire structure by bringing on a midfielder. It is common sense. It is basic squad management. It is something even championship managers understand, but somehow Manchester United failed to. And let's address this issue. It's not a secret anymore, Amorim does not like using academy players. It's been a full year at a club famous for giving opportunities to young talents, and yet under Amorim, not a single academy player has truly broken into the team. Not one. He has not improved any academy prospect. Even the young players who were already developing under previous managers found themselves pushed aside. And that tells a story. Compare that to managers like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He brought through Mason Greenwood, who is now at Marseille scoring goals. He gave opportunities to James Garner, who is now important for Everton. He introduced kids like Tareth Chong, Brandon Williams, Ethan Laird, players who at least had a pathway, players who were trusted enough to get minutes. Then look at Ten Hag. He brought up Garnacho, who Chelsea were willing to pay £40 million for, and he unleashed Kobbie Mainoo, who became a key player, and they both helped us win 2 trophies. These managers believed in youth. They understood the DNA of Manchester United. But now? Suddenly Mainoo is not good enough? Suddenly no academy player deserves a chance? For the first time in years we played matches without a single academy graduate even in the squad. That is not just unusual, that is historically shocking for Manchester United. And what makes it worse is the reasoning Amorim himself gave about Chidi Obi.
So he's one of the guys, but I think he starts too soon, and sometimes it's hard to deal with that with the kids, because they think that I'm already here. No, you are here for necessity, and we need to be careful also with that with the kids.
He said he doesn't want the boy to feel like he has arrived too fast. He said he thinks the opportunity came too early. Fine, but does that excuse leaving the squad without a backup striker when the team desperately needed one? Does protecting a player's feelings come before protecting Manchester United from dropping points? It is starting to look like Amorim is more worried about mentality lectures than actually solving the problems right in front of him, more concerned about how a young player feels than how the team performs on the pitch. More focused on controlling players than controlling matches. And that is a major issue, because at Manchester United, winning comes first, and everything else comes second. Now let's get into the real matter of the day, because what we're seeing at Manchester United right now is no longer a coincidence, it's a full-blown pattern. A cycle. A habit. Something that has rooted itself so deeply into this team that you can almost predict the collapse before it happens. Reports have shown it clearly. Manchester United have one of the lowest second-half win counts in the entire league. And honestly, does that surprise anyone anymore? Because every single week we see the same story repeat itself like a bad movie with no ending. We score a goal, and then we relax. We slow down. We drop the tempo. And then, like clockwork, we eventually lose the lead. It happened against Brentford. It happened against Tottenham. It nearly happened against Brighton, and we only escaped because of a late goal. And now, once again, it has happened against West Ham. How many warnings do we need? How many times do we want to see the same mistake punish us before we admit it's a real problem? And it's not just the performance, it's the structure of the performances. We either have a good first half and a terrible second half, or we play a horrible first half and then respond in the second, or we start the second half well and then collapse late on. It's always one extreme or the other, but never a complete performance. Never a full 90 minutes of control. Never a full game where we dictate the pace from start to finish. And the common factor in all of this? Wrong substitutions. Every time Amorim changes a player, or changes the shape, we immediately suffer. It has happened multiple times this season. It always costs us goals. We almost always concede within minutes of his changes. This is not bad luck. This is not coincidence. This is poor in-game management, and it is becoming one of the biggest problems holding this team back. Just imagine, genuinely imagine, if we had held onto all the games we dropped in the second half this season. Imagine if we didn't switch off. Imagine if the substitutions didn't destabilize the team every single time. We could easily be second or third in the league right now. We could be right up there fighting where we belong. But instead, we keep making the same avoidable mistakes over and over again, and we pay the price every single time. We don't learn. We don't correct. We simply repeat. And until that changes, the results will not change. Looking at our squad right now, let's be brutally honest, we have too many average players wearing the Manchester United badge, players who should not be anywhere near this club if we are truly serious about rebuilding and challenging again. Because it is genuinely heartbreaking to watch, the moment certain players come on, you can almost predict what will happen next. You know we are going to concede. You know the momentum is going to shift. You know the quality is going to drop. And when that becomes a pattern, when it becomes normal, then the message is very clear: our bench is not good enough. Our squad depth is not good enough. This is not just on the coach, it's on the board as well. Like I said earlier, the planning at this club has been shocking. There is no strategy, no forward thinking, no long-term vision. We don't have the right replacements, we don't have the right reinforcements, and when games get tough, there are simply no players on the bench capable of changing the game positively. That is the harsh reality. But at the same time, another big issue is staring us right in the face: we refuse to use the academy. Manchester United, a club known across the world for producing young talents, a club that has built its history on the success of academy players, is suddenly ignoring its own roots. Amorim must start giving chances to these young talents. You can never discover a gem if you never give them the platform to shine. How can you know who is good enough if they're stuck on the bench or not even in the squad? That's why, for me, Chidi Obi should be on the bench every single match. At least give him a chance. Show the boy you believe in him. And it's not just him, there are several positions in this squad where we desperately need depth, and while we wait for reinforcements, why can't we use the academy to fill those gaps? Why can't we give these kids opportunities the same way past managers did? And we need to move fast, because AFCON is coming, and things could get even worse. We will lose key players, the squad will become even thinner, and if we continue ignoring the academy and failing to sign the right players, we will sink deeper. We need quality signings, proper reinforcements, and fresh young legs from the academy to help this team stay alive and stay competitive. The board must act. The coach must act. Because if we don't fix this squad depth problem now, the second half of the season could be a nightmare. Manchester United fans, let me end with this: we deserve better. We deserve a team that fights for us, a team that respects the badge, a team that understands the weight of this club. We deserve a manager who learns from his mistakes and a board that plans for the future, not one that repeats the same errors season after season. We deserve a squad with depth, with hunger, with quality, a squad that can step onto that pitch and make us proud again. Because this club is not small. This club is not average. This club is not built to settle for draws at Old Trafford against relegation zone teams. We are Manchester United, a club built on glory, on passion, on winning, on never giving up until the final whistle. But right now, all of that is fading, not because of the fans, not because of the players who give their all, but because of poor decisions, poor management, and a lack of ambition from the top down. But we cannot give up. We cannot stop demanding more. We cannot stop pushing for better. We must keep calling out what is wrong, keep demanding the right decisions, keep supporting the players who truly fight, and keep pushing this club back to where it belongs. Because Manchester United will rise again, but only if the people in charge wake up. So stay strong, stay passionate, and keep your voice loud. Better days will come, but only if we force this club to change. Thank you for watching. And if you're a real Red and you want the truth every single week, hit that subscribe button. Let's fight for this club together. Glory, glory Manchester United.